For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Motsabi Hwayani. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner discusses the politics of the red carpet and politics of the people. Professor, you write in your latest column that there isn't any avenue for political engagement and that no political official has taken responsibility for the issues that have caused people to protest. What should political leaders be doing in this instance?
I think that they are responsible in the sense that it is their job constitutionally to ensure the provision of the services about which people have protested, so that the first thing that they should be doing is looking at why they were appointed and actually performing that job. But there have been a range of other irregularities that have accompanied this. For example, we have seen that there has been sabotaging of water delivery in the Madibeng municipality and consciously diverting, leaving things in disrepair and ensuring that people have to use a service whereby they buy the water that they ought to be getting for free. So I think that we are appealing to a leadership which unfortunately has shown that it is relatively immune to what Chief Luthuli would call the gospel of service. They worship at the gospel of enrichment. And we have to try to build among the youth of today and the future leaders of this country a different culture. And it's hard to do this when you're living in a country where people have role models which encourage the accumulation of wealth. And it is a problem. I don't know how the present leadership can be forced at this stage to take responsibility for that for which they are responsible.
You say the police are not responsible for the failure to provide a decent environment and living conditions for the people of South Africa, yet our leadership is seemingly also not responsible. Is there any solution to this catch-22 situation?
Well, there is a constitution and there are laws under which these matters are supposed to be dealt with, and communities where they are organized have sometimes been able to enlist the services of NGOs to assist them to protect their rights, advance their rights, and recover damages where that is possible. And this is a very complicated thing because not all NGOs operate the same way. Some NGOs employ experts who simply go and they litigate, they bring actions against the government, and they arrive and tell communities, we've solved your problem. Now, what I think is more compatible with the democracy that we're trying to build is that NGOs should form a relationship with communities. Now, you've seen this in the Traditional Courts Bill. The Traditional Courts Bill has basically lapsed, and this has been because organizations like the Center for Law and Society, Legal Resources Center, and others have worked with rural women, the Alliance for Rural Women, whose voices were heard in Parliament. So they didn't simply go there and say this law is unconstitutional for this, that, and the other reason. They didn't go there as lawyers alone. They actually mobilized the voices of ordinary people, people who are very often invisible, like the people in these townships where you have the failure to deliver basic utilities. They are invisible till they appear on the television screen destroying things. And their plight needs to be made visible when NGOs assist them to realize their rights, because there are sometimes avenues for forcing officials to perform their legal duties. Since there are legal duties, there are legal ways of forcing them.
And so the crisis should not be the only time that policing takes place, but it should be an inbuilt character of the community. That's what you're trying to say, Professor.
No, I'm not saying that policing must take place, but that the first prize is for officials to be performing their constitutional duty at all levels of government, and to be sensitive. People like using the word Ubuntu. They must be sensitive to the plight of all human beings in their midst, and not just to themselves. And people should not have to confront the police to address a grievance, because the police are there to enforce law and order at best. The political officials should come and account.
All right. You say that it is clear that constitutional structures and rights guaranteed to all people don't work for the poorest of poor. Is there any hope then for the future of South Africa in that case?
Well, we have a constitution, one of the most advanced constitutions in the world, so we have to find a way of using those constitutional rights. As indicated, there are specialists in social and economic rights, like Siri up here, who came to the assistance of informal traders who were illegally evicted from the centre of Johannesburg, and they conferred with those traders. They didn't act over their heads. So we need to find ways of engaging with the powers that be over a range of rights. For example, in the Bill of Rights, I've referred to the fact that freedom of sexual orientation, gender equality are not as well protected as racism is. You do not find as many prosecutions as there are rapes compared with acts of racism. We need to build organization around these vulnerable communities. There is organization around LGBTI communities. There are organizations like Sonke Gender Justice, but these are not nearly as powerful as the constituency that backs people who suffer racism. So we need to build a broad movement, but we also need to build sectoral movements which protect people who are vulnerable.
Thank you so much. That was Professor Raymond Suttner discussing the politics of the red carpet and the politics of the people in South Africa.